All right, perfect. Welcome everybody on TikTok. Hopefully you can hear me. All right, if you guys can give me a thumbs up letting me know you can hear me and see me okay, that would be really helpful. And I'm going to give this a second for everybody here on YouTube to also log in. How am I sounding on TikTok? I am good on TikTok. All right, thanks so much, everybody. If you are tuning in through TikTok and you find at any point that it's cutting out or acting up in any way, you may want to switch over to YouTube at Ask Ivy. I would actually implore you to do that now because TikTok is doing me dirty all the time. So go over to YouTube at Ask Ivy. Feel free to subscribe. You will also be able to interact more easily. Okay, you guys here on YouTube, welcome everyone. We've got Shauna, Vanessa, Catherine. We got a few people tuning in, and we're just going to give this another minute. So while we allow for people to tune in, I do want to make a couple quick announcements. We do have the grand opening for the Ivy League Psychic Academy at my new location in Dunkirk, New York, 2 blocks from the beach. This is an old Victorian 1800s funeral home that I am converting into the church, the academy, my reading business, the Ivy League Apothecary. It is absolutely gorgeous. For those of you who've been watching any of my videos, you know how much effort we've been putting into restoring this place and getting the doors open for the grand opening. I had to miss the last 2 weeks of classes and shows here to get some work done, but we are officially doing it. October 24th is the grand opening, and we are able to interact virtually if you can't be there, but of course the doors are open for everybody in person. And to see more information on the sales that are going on that day, we're going to be doing sales on classes, the apothecary, we're doing a psychic fair. You can get a virtual reading or healing. You can also be there again in person. You can check out more at ivyrivera.psychicmedium.com. That link is up in the bio. Now, we are also doing the same day as part of the grand opening. First time in history I have ever done a free psychic mediumship course. So that's going to be at, is it 3 o'clock? So it goes from 3 to 6. Is that correct? Okay. So from 3 to 6 p.m., again, virtual or in person, you guys can attend my first ever free psychic mediumship class, see what your abilities are, dive in, get your feet wet, and do it with a bunch of like-minded people. Okay, now seats are filling fast. And that goes for both in person and, on Zoom. We're already almost maxed out on Zoom. So you're going to want to go ahead and register ivyrivera.psychicmedium.com. Get your foot in the door for that. For those of you that are interested in owning a franchise of the Academy, that is October 20th. The doors are opening to start your Ivy League Psychic Academy franchise. You could either do a brick and mortar or you could do 100% virtual. Lots of ways for people to work here with the Academy. And if you are looking to become an assistant teacher here or to take the Psychic Mediumship course, that begins December 6th. And you can go ahead and register at psychicmediumshipcourse.com for either one of those positions. All right, looks like we have a few people tuning in. Good. So we got Andrea, Elaine, we're getting a few more. One more announcement. Today I launched Bring Our Sisters Home for our Indigenous and women of color that have gone missing. I will be nonprofit volunteering my time to these cases. I've been doing criminal investigations, missing persons cases for about a decade now. And I've also been training up students here at the Academy to do the same thing. So if you know of a case missing Indigenous or women of color, you're going to want to contact Paul, my assistant, and I will get right on that. We need to bring our sisters home. Paul, where can they contact you? Can you put that in the comments or up in the bio, please? Okay. Also check my social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, here on YouTube. And I will continuously be running ads for that for as long as I can do it. Okay. So it looks like we have a few people tuned in. I do want everyone on YouTube, I ask please to give this video a thumbs up at this time. Just hit that button, greatly appreciated. Please do subscribe. Feel free to donate. Donations are always appreciated. And if you guys want to become a member, you can hit that join button for more information on the 3 tiers. I am officially doing here in October a private Ask Ivy show once a month for the top 2 tier members here on YouTube. So check it out. We hope to have you. All right. How are you doing, Paulie?
I am great, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Paul, my adorable producer, will be taking your questions and comments throughout the class. This is an interactive space. And if I can't get to them during the curriculum, I will be getting to them at the end. So feel free to start posting. All right, welcome everyone. I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Arawak, and I own a school called the Ivy League Psychic Academy, where I train people internationally, online, and everything, ranging from psychic mediumship development to Reiki, astrology, numerology, tarot, paranormal, empathic awareness, meditation. You name it, we do it. We train children as well as adults. So we hope to see you there. For a full list of classes, you can go to ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com. And today, what you've caught is one of my free mini classes. I've been putting out 1 to 2 free mini classes per week called the Quarantine Series since the pandemic hit. For a full list of classes, you can go on to YouTube at Ask Ivy. Up in the playlist, it will have all of them there. Okay, nicely organized at this point. We have so many. Today, interestingly enough, I am discussing the pandemic and the awakening. So who out there has noticed that since the pandemic hit, you have more psychic ability than you ever had? You're having more wild and vivid dreams, more prophecy. You feel more mediumistic. Maybe you feel like your house is haunted or like spirits are contacting you. Your ears ring a lot. You get a lot of tinnitus, pressure in your ears. You're waking up between 3 and 5:30 in the morning, the haunting hour. Maybe you're having more downloads or kundalini, awakening symptoms, which are itchy skin, frequent urination, ADD-like symptoms. Okay, things like this. It can also really irritate your anxiety and depression. A lot of people go through an awakening, think that they have some type of disorder, and it's most likely that if you go in and see a therapist, okay, you will get diagnosed with something ranging from psychosis to, manic depression to many, many other things. So it's really important to understand that when we have an awakening, when it is triggered, that we have a lot of side effects that we need to manage. It's sort of like we're this whole new person. So if you think of yourself like a butterfly, you weren't always a butterfly. At one point you were a caterpillar and you had to eat a lot of junk, and then, you went into your pupa phase. It was kind of ugly, right? That's dark night of the soul. And then you come out, you have these amazing wings, but you don't necessarily know how to use them yet. And you don't necessarily know how to keep yourself safe. And you have to learn how to stretch your wings and really fly in the way that you were meant to. And so that's where so many of us are after the pandemic hit. So today we're going to be breaking down why, okay, all of this happened and what you're supposed to do with it. So we're going to talk about how exactly did we wake up? Okay, why did it happen? And what is the purpose? So the first thing I want to address is the Hopi Prophecy. I am a firm believer in the Hopi Prophecy, stating that in the end times, we will see people split between light and dark, that those that have chosen to disconnect from spirit will fall to the wayside. They will go mentally ill, they will go dark, and we are to allow that to happen. Those of us that have decided repeatedly to turn towards spirit, we are connected to the higher power, the universe, nature, our higher minds, we will evolve and take over. So my belief system is that around late 2018, early 2019, the Hopi Prophecy came into full effect. I believe it's going to run until 2024. Okay. Those of you that follow me understand that I talk quite a lot about the different groups of people that will be leading the way during that time, and how people who have chosen the dark will go mentally ill and fall off. I don't have time to get into all that today. You could check out a class here that we did a few months ago called End Times. Are we there? Up in the playlist. Paul, if you could put that in the comments, it would be appreciated. So what I really want to focus on today, okay, are those of us that are woke, those of us that have chosen the light. And what that really means going forward. So if we are in this period of time now, because of the pandemic and the quarantine, where we are all of a sudden woke and we don't understand how to manage it, we were given this great period of time during quarantine where we were allowed to sort of hide. We had 6 feet between us and other people. So we were allowed enough personal space. And all of a sudden that was lifted. So now for those of us who are out of lockdowns, we are now thrown back out into the world around all these other people and in these toxic environments. And we're not understanding how to protect ourselves and why we're struggling with that change so much, even those of us who really wanted it. Okay. So there were many people who were dying to get out, but now that you're out, you're realizing this is more difficult than it's ever been. And there were those of you that realized in the quarantine, oh my God, I finally feel healthy. I finally feel like myself, because you were able to keep your energy to yourself. So what we need to do now is to become empowered. And when we talk about becoming woke, having an awakening, we also need to look at empathic ability. So there are 4 different levels of empathic ability. You can check out my class called Empathic Awareness to learn more about this. And when you increase in any level with your empathic ability, which is usually due to something like the pandemic or trauma, broken bones, illness, divorce, maybe you went under for surgery, someone near you, someone in your close circle died, pregnancy, childbirth. There are many reasons that we have increases. When we increase, okay, we need to then understand that it isn't just our empathic ability that increases. It is also our psychic and mediumistic abilities. So someone who has empathic ability has all 3 abilities: psychic, mediumistic, and empathic. Now, when I'm referring to empathic ability, I'm referring to your tendency to accidentally, involuntarily, overabsorb other people's energy, overabsorb energy from atmospheres and objects. Okay, so all of this new energy coming into you, seeping into you, now that you're woke, now that you're more empathic, you're more psychic, you're more mediumistic, has to be managed. I had a doctor come in once and ask me what the heck I was teaching at the academy, because he had patients who had attended some of my classes and he was shocked at how well they were doing. So he came, he paid me a visit, and he said, what the heck are you telling them? And I said, honestly, it's just all about energy maintenance. It's about knowing what energy is around you, knowing how you're affected by it, knowing whether or not you absorb it, and how to properly put it back out, because you can't just let it build. And he said, I love this. I always tell my patients, look, you can't eat 12 Big Macs and expect to not have to go to the bathroom really bad, get sick, gain weight, feel like garbage. You can't put that into your body without putting it back out again. He said, I wish more people understood this. So that's one of the things that you need to look at. Okay, again, check out the empathic awareness class to learn tips and tools on how to actually do this. But all this new energy coming into you is not healthy, whether it be positive or negative. That's irrelevant. Too much is overload. You wouldn't stuff your washing machine, and then just be like, well, if I close the lid, it'll probably be all right. You know that thing is going to come off the rails. It's going to be rocking. The tubes are going to pull out. It's going to overflow. It's going to be a mess. This is your new state of existence after the awakening. Okay. So, why exactly did it happen? It happened because everyone got sick. This wasn't an issue that was contained to just one country. This wasn't something that got solved very easily. It's still not solved. It took a while for the vaccine to come out. It took a while for there to be some hope, some relief. In that period of time, where we saw one country after another, after another, after another, and we realized this spread like wildfire internationally, and we had no hope. The bodies were stacking up. People were passing by mass numbers, and we were waiting on that vaccine, but not knowing if it would work or how long it was going to take. We were in a state of panic. And one of the biggest activators for your intuitive intelligence is trauma. So this state of trauma that the entire world went through that lasted a really long time. I have the free mini classes to prove it from the quarantine series, okay? This went on for so long that it spread energetically to each other, and that activates. We tap into each other's energy and can be awakened, can have an increase in intuitive intelligence, can level up with our empathic ability just based on, again, our atmosphere, okay, and especially the people in it. So everyone was in that state of mind. Everyone was feeling it emotionally, and that feeds the energy. And then we had the sadness and the sorrow from the loss. So again, one of the major reasons for an intuitive intelligence increase, an awakening, an empathic level up is loss of a loved one. And so we're not only surrounded by people who are suffering from that, and we're picking up on that energy. Many of us knew people intimately, personally, who passed, and we are threatened as individuals. Might I die? This could happen at any time. So we automatically now have this increase in intuitive intelligence and empathic ability. So what is the purpose? What is it good for, any of this? I think that the really important thing to understand here is that when we look at things like the Hopi Prophecy or end times, we're really talking about a detoxing. We're really talking about a cleansing process. We're talking about taking the weak or the dark, those that refuse to stand and feed the light. We're talking about taking them and just allowing them to disappear. Okay, so many of them are, at this point, if you look around, just killing themselves. They're committing suicide, essentially. Okay, that's all predicted. That's even in the astrology right now. Okay, so when we look at the end times class, I did it with a numerologist, our numerologist here, Reverend Danny Johnson, and our astrologer, Reverend Christina Del Rey. In end times, that's what we discussed. Okay, so there is mapping in the stars and the planets that this would be happening, and in the numbers, as well as the predictions. So we are allowing them to go, which allows for a transfer of power from negative dark energies in the universe to those energies of light. Okay, in this case, we're talking about people who are willing to help each other, protect the environment, live in harmony with one another, and to essentially take on leadership to correct things that are going on this planet and help us to evolve in the universe as a whole. And we never see a level up without a detox first. That doesn't happen in any situation. You never got a job promotion without that. You know, you never met a lover without that. You never grew, you know, and developed personally or as an individual or spiritually without that. So it's part of the natural flow. I think that right now, though, we are seeing it to such an extreme because alongside this awakening, this end times, this detoxing is a whole lot of karma playing out. That also shows in the numerology and the astrology. Okay, so when we're talking about karmic debt, we're talking about karmic contracts, we're talking about dues and how things that have been done wrong have to be made right. That is the other major effect that we're seeing. So those people who have been racist are having to now suffer the consequences and pay out. Those that have been passively sitting on the sidelines, right? They've been entitled enough, privileged enough to do that. They now have to stand up or get out of the way. We see this happening even with, you know, interesting cases like Gabby Petito, who is a Caucasian female who was just recently murdered by her, you know, narcissistic, sociopathic boyfriend. And we have it on film. So this is a huge criminal case here in America and worldwide at this point. Everyone's watching this. But you know, it's karma for women because even though the police listened and watched her be abused, they took care of him. They took care of the boyfriend, you know, who was abusing her. They were more concerned about scratches on his body and let him go. And now there are repercussions. And in that case alone, it's also helping for karma to be brought to Indigenous and women of color who have gone missing, who have been murdered, but get no publicity in the media whatsoever. It is bringing to the light, you know, since the pandemic, we talked about, you know, racism, cases like George Floyd, okay, and LGBTQ rights, and leaving Afghanistan and looking again at women's rights there, and the ending of that, what was it, 20-year war, you know, that went on. We are watching since the pandemic hit one thing after another, after another, after another, after another. And so it's like a snowball effect. It's picking up speed. All right. And so all of that is part of what I believe is going on with the end times. And sort of if you take the Hopi Prophecy and you break it down into categories, it's LGBTQ leading the way. It is Black and minority people in general. And it is women and natives wrapping it up in the end. So we are now entering into that last phase as we've seen these other groups, okay, have some good karmic play out here in the last couple years. Again, I believe this goes until 2024, and then we'll see what we do with all of this. We'll see what we end up with, okay? You reap what you sow. So do you guys have any questions, comments? What's coming in here?
A lot of comments about people who were experiencing, we have this one, Lil Sam says, the tinnitus and vertigo literally started at the beginning of the pandemic.
Vertigo?
Mm-hmm.
It's a terrible side effect of having an awakening, kundalini, even a download. And I have other classes here on YouTube, free classes on that stuff, and some videos on TikTok as well. But vertigo is extraordinarily uncomfortable and can really feel like it's lasting forever. And it's you know, hard too when you go to the doctor and they can't find anything and the meds aren't working. So I'm glad you tuned in for this tonight. Your ancestors and spirit guides definitely led you here.
Yeah, that was quite the comment here on TikTok. A lot of people are happy that they cut this one in particular. So very happy to catch this tonight.
Yeah, I'm really glad you guys made it for this one.
And I'm going to just call her Marie on TikTok. Says, "Asks, are migraines a symptom?"
Yeah, migraines are a symptom.
Said, I've had ADHD symptoms like crazy, and I feel super ungrounded.
So migraines are a big part of this, and I believe it's a lot from the energy overabsorption. Okay, I think it's mostly from the energy overabsorption, because you will be picking up from atmospheres, objects, other people. And like I said earlier, that when that doctor said the same thing about the Big Macs, okay, it's too much energy in your system. It is not being processed in the way it needs to be, and then you're not giving it out. So a couple different things that you should be doing is processing it by sitting and saying, are there messages coming in to me right now that I need to hear from spirit or from my higher mind? Or is there energy from around me coming in that I need to, put back out? And in the empathic awareness class, we talk about what is mine and what is others. Okay. So again, check that class out. That will help your migraines a lot. But the other part of this is understanding that now that you are woke, you will be tired from constantly blocking. You cannot realistically block all the time. So this energy that comes in has to go back out. I would recommend you train in Reiki. You learn how to give healings out to others, train in psychic mediumship, start giving readings and messages out to others. Make sure you walk more. Make sure you hug a tree daily. It's called earthing, I guess. Go barefoot. Plants and flowers around your house. Be careful with things like crystals. People will tell you, oh, crystals are good for you. They're not if this is your situation. It's going to be over stimulation, and be very careful the company you keep. Okay. People that you were able to tolerate before could become extremely draining. Jobs, things like that. You'll have to make some adjustments.
Rhonda had a comment that she's really trying to get off of her antidepressants, and she's just started trying to wean down.
So I can't prescribe or diagnose, of course, but I do find after 10 years of working with the public doing this, and I'm an empathic educator, so I go into universities and school systems and I train teachers. A lot of people can't really ever learn how to take control of their energy and manage it while they're on medications. It's like you're stuck on a hamster wheel or you're numbed out. There's this sense of it not being an authentic experience. And so it's more like you're relying on the pill to fix it instead of learning how to manage your own energy yourself. So I understand where you are, and I wish you all the best.
This one on YouTube, I'll send you away. It's very related.
Okay. Also, you guys, donations are appreciated. And if you did not already give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, please do so now. All right. So we have from a Shauna. Yes. And it's super hard to get off medications once they get you to that point, which I'm fighting. I have a lot of health issues. Okay. But getting away from mental health meds. Okay. So yeah, Shauna confirming. Another person. I did a free mini class for you guys here called Psychology and Intuition. Is that what it was called?
Psychology, therapy, and spirituality.
Psychology, therapy, and spirituality. Could you put that in the comments for them? Thank you. Psychology, therapy, and spirituality. And how they're intertwined. And how you have to be careful for doctors and therapists misdiagnosing you as psychotic or something else because you're having a spiritual awakening. Okay. So I broke all that down there. Then I did a follow-up to that called The War on Intuition, where I talked more in depth about government systems, educational systems, family and social systems. Okay. And again, the medical and scientific field and how they crush your intuition, your spiritual development, and This is really about colonization. Okay. And we need to normalize intuition. We need to decolonize spirituality. And so you may want to check out some of those classes to keep you motivated to do what you feel is right for you. Okay. We have one more?
Two more.
Or a couple more? Okay, so Kara, another question. Starting last fall, my heart was racing all the time. I got an EKG and it came back normal. At the same time, my ears were ringing all the time. Right. So it's also been a bit of a phenomenon the last couple years since the pandemic hit. How many like doctors are trying to figure out why the tinnitus meds aren't working anymore, and nobody can seem to figure out what's going on. I know what's going on. We all know what's going on. So those are normal side effects, and those side effects that she spoke of can happen when she's around someone else. So Kara, if you're around someone else who is going through an awakening, who is highly empathic, like level 3, 4. If you're in a toxic environment, so this happens to a lot of people that are interested in like antiquing or lawn sales, right? Which have a lot of like stuff being sold from divorces and, you know, old things that have collected energy, objects hold energy, or they're maybe drawn to like paranormal investigations and tours and things like this. We would be picking up from the atmosphere, objects, and other people. And so that can cause for that anxiety reaction. It can cause for the ear ringing, numbness in the face, the mouth, the hands, tingling, blurred vision. You're going to think you have low blood sugar. You're going to think you have a blood pressure issue. You're going to think you need, you know, all these tests. Again, I can't prescribe or diagnose. Go get it checked out. But when your doctor says, I honestly don't know what's going on with you, check your environment. But you also have to remember that as you awake, you increase with mediumistic abilities. And you can't see a spirit. You can't see a ghost. Okay, so that can also cause, I always tell my students that the number one side effect from having a spirit come in to communicate with you is an anxiety attack. And, you know, the second one is ear ringing. The third one is perfusive sweating. So we have physical reactions to energy, and we just have to learn where it's coming from, how we react, and how to manage it. Okay, we have another one here from Chicken Mama. Hi, Chicken Mama. You mentioned you cannot level up without detoxing. Please explain. Probably the easiest way for me to explain the whole thing, because it's a process, is to have you check out a class I did here called Fighting the Dark. That's a free one. And the empathic awareness training, which is up on the website. Okay. But basically what I mean by that is that there isn't any process in life, whether it's having a baby, think about childbirth, right? Or it's getting your degree so that you can get a decent job, or it's getting into a good relationship, but you have to leave a toxic relationship. Growing pains. Anyone remember the way your legs felt when you were growing? If you grew too fast when you were like 11 years old, the agony of that, you know, to the seasons. I mean, there isn't anything that we look at in the world that doesn't prove to us every day. Look at anything, and watch how there is a process of change that takes some time. And part of that process is letting go of what no longer serves. That's it. Okay. We have another one.
Yep.
This is from, is that Vadi?
There's VCAT1, I think.
Oh, VCAT1. Okay. I thrift store shop. I sage the items. Does that get rid of it? Well, it depends on the item. I mean, if you have something with a paranormal attachment and you saged, as long as you're really good at what you're doing, hopefully, yes. But that's not a guarantee. These things can be tricky. If you bring home a lot of items, like right now, I just bought this funeral home, right? 1800s funeral home. It sat vacant for 15 years and it was full of all the equipment, from the embalming table to the belly button plugs to the weird furniture. Okay. I'm in it. Okay. what do? Well, you have to gauge what holds negative energy and what is just old. If there is something about the energy that bothers you and you want to keep it around you or in your home, you should cleanse it and understand that if it's residual energy, meaning non-intelligent, okay, not like a spirit that's trying to interact with you. If it's residual energy, like an old impression, of a situation, a feeling, it's like burnt toast. If that's part of it, it's going to clear out more easily. And I think the only way to really know the answer to your question is to ask yourself about that object after you cleanse it. Do I feel okay with it now? And if the answer is still no, you may want to get rid of it. Okay. All right. My cats are going crazy. It's time. We got to go eat. Okay. So we're going to get out of here tonight, but tomorrow is my Ask Ivy show after taking 2 weeks off, opening this place up and getting ready for everything for the grand opening. I am back, and that is on TikTok at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then here on YouTube at 8:30. Okay, directly after, I will be taking your personal questions and channeling your loved ones, giving advice, and talking about spiritual things. So tune in for that. What is next week's free mini class?
Oh, next week's a good one.
They're all good ones, Polly. They're all good ones.
I was trying to buy
Damn
myself a second with that.
And I'm tired.
That statement there. Next week, we have trauma and intuition.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Okay, so Spirit sets these all up, right? I didn't even know. So next week's free mini class, same time, same place, is trauma and intuition. How has trauma made you more psychic, mediumistic, and empathic? Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Polly.
You're welcome.
Have a great night, everyone.